please welcome to the stage CEO of MAB, Peter Brodnicki.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Curve and MAB's Transformation Conference 2019. Brilliant to see you all here today. Last year, my very last slide, as it normally is about Fulham. Want to tell me something? This time last year, I was really looking forward to going to Wembley to beat Aston Villa and spend a fantastic season in the Premiership. Just 12 months later, I'm standing here in front of you, looking forward to travelling to Kenilworth Road, the home of Luton Town, having seen Fulham become the third fastest team in Premiership history to get relegated. Ironically, Derby County were the team that have been relegated the fastest, and hopefully they do beat Villa on Saturday. They won't be beating their own record next season. I've been trying to think of links between Fulham and our theme today, transformation. And I've come up with a really good example, actually. Fulham managed to transfer a record £100 million spent on rubbish new players into a value of less than 20 million in just 8 months. Now, that's really, really transformational. And I'm sure that's even more impressive than countrywide share performance over the same period. So when you hear plenty of reference today about the pace of change, do think seriously about how quickly Fulham's fortunes have changed. Because it could be any of us as advisors or business owners, where one minute we're doing well and the next minute the world changes around us and suddenly what we're doing so well doesn't work anymore. So also think about the last 48 hours about Tesco Bank and also think about which mortgage brokers, none of which would be obviously in our industry anymore. So yes, investment's important, but how you invest, where you invest is important. But even more important than investment is the culture, whether the culture is in a football club or a mortgage broking business. It's key to outstanding performance. And having in your DNA the ability and desire to constantly adapt and improve, and managing change and adapting to new challenges is so much easier when that culture already exists. It's so important. So before I share with you MAB's strategy and clear direction of travel, I'd like to pull out just one half sentence from the FCA's recent re-release consultation paper about lowering the barriers to execution-only business. Effectively, a complete U-turn on MMR. Their position is crystal clear. And although there will be pushback, the outcome is inevitable, as are the unintended consequences that are to the detriment of the customer. Lowering the barriers to execution only, combined with the pace of technology change right now, is bad news for intermediaries that are one-dimensional and continue to operate in a way that suits them rather than the customer, or don't have the time, the skills, or the desire to do things better or do things differently. It sounds harsh, but it describes a really large number of advisors and firms in our sector. However, the news is really, really good if we're prepared to step up and make that change, as people in this room can do. We've got fantastic distribution sitting here today. So rather than being a major threat, it can be a massive opportunity. But this is a once in a lifetime. This sort of thing doesn't happen often, where technology merges with changes in regulation. The likely impact on intermediaries will be debated in a really fascinating session this afternoon where you'll be able to have your say. But in the meantime, let me share with you MAB's objectives as your strategic partner. The first slide you may have seen before, or versions of it. But actually, it's all about the customer. Our business has to be about the customer, nobody else. We have to stay relevant to 100% of customers rather than being dictated to by external forces. Specialization also defines us. The more specialization we have, the more we differentiate ourselves. It's easier to have that differentiation if you're a bigger business. We have lots of big businesses here today, businesses getting bigger, who can increase the level of specialization they have within their business. It's so much more difficult for an individual advisor to do that. And obviously, where the firm can't do it or can't do it yet, MAB need to deliver it. But what we must do is not restrict what we deliver to customers based on what we've got time to do, or the knowledge to do, or the specialization to do. As you can see in that heart image, it is about face-to-face advice. I'm a massive, massive fan of that. But we have to understand that telephony is the sector of our industry that's growing and growing fastest. And digital has to support both to make that the best possible customer experience. And when I'm talking about telephone, yes, more and more of you as advisors who are in a face-to-face environment are giving advice over the telephone too. But I'm talking also about professional telephone-based operations, which more and more of you are starting to build now because you can see the direction of travel. And of course, digital, as well as supporting face-to-face and telephone, is going to be a challenge in its own right in terms of execution only. And if that's what we have to deliver, that's what we'll deliver. But that's certainly, as you'll see from this presentation, not my priority. But if we are to stay 100% relevant, we may have to consider it in the right circumstances. So the next slide is about lead generation. I'll come onto the slide in a moment. But technology will have the biggest impact on lead generation. Yes, it'll improve our systems and processes, but the biggest impact, therefore the impact on you as business owners and advisors, will be how leads are generated. I'm making a pledge to you right now that Mortgage Advice Bureau are going to be as good a specialists in this arena as anybody. Specialists and leaders in lead generation, both in how leads are generated today, for all of you guys that have got great lead distribution here at the Curve, or alternatively, new ways of generating leads, which I'll come on to in a moment. But we also have to be really, really focused on opportunities and leads we have already today, and we choose to pay for leads and then throw away all the free ones. We have huge amounts of customers we don't end up doing business with, then we throw the file away, even if they've got a perfectly good mortgage and a house but decided not to move. We don't even capitalize on that, which is crazy. There are customers that just aren't ready. They go in the bin. If you think about all the leads we actually have, and if we manage that data and process properly, and if we can give you technology and systems to do that, for every mortgage you do, there should be another mortgage we should be doing over the next couple of years from the opportunities we walk away from. Referral opportunities. It's crazy. I mean, in this room, there are people that work from virtually no referrals and just new business, and others that are 50 to 100% referral business, the easiest business you could possibly ask to do. How is anybody in execution only ever going to compete in that market? No, no one's going to compete with that. We've got to get our own house in order, and we've got to help you on that too. You know, generating your own leads from mortgages into protection, into general insurance, into wealth, into later life lending, into all forms of areas of specialization. We need to look at those because we are lead generators ourselves, not just the ones that come into us. We've got to think of ourselves as a lead generation business. But now I'm going to go to that slide, but it's also about capturing those leads an awful lot earlier. So you'll see the house in the middle. That's completion. Someone's just moved into their home. And you'll see that stack of opportunities just to the left, about 6 months before. Estate agents, builders, mortgage shops, online. We're fantastic at all of that. But actually, the customer starts looking around 2 years before when they go on comparison websites. They go on property portals, mortgage websites. They become mini estate agents, mini mortgage brokers, trying to work out what their plan is, what they need to save, where they can afford to move. And this is where we need to get involved with people too, far earlier in that process, and technology will allow us to do that. It'll open the door to new lead sources, new ways of communicating with customers, so that we can start nurturing those customers over that period and capturing those customers, bring them into Mortgage Advice Bureau, into your businesses, into the portal, adding value, giving value along that process. And then when they do come into these areas, we will capitalize them more. Plus, we'll get a lot more people that maybe we didn't capture through there in the first place. This is where our learning and where our expertise is going to happen. This is what we're working on now, and this is what we're going to work with you on. This is what technology is going to facilitate. And even then, by the time we do their mortgage, of course we know every single product and service the customer is going to need between then and when they move in. Why on earth don't we deliver those as part of your value add? Execution-only models won't do that. And again, you're going to be getting those solutions through Mortgage Advice Bureau. But then the fascinating bit is the gap between that middle house and the right-hand house. That right-hand house sits 5 years from now, and that's where most of you are fixing people's mortgages right now. 5 years. That is a phenomenal amount of time. And I can't tell you how much the world's going to change and how many more options those customers are going to have and how what they experience to view is going to be so different in 2 years, never mind 3 years or 5 years. So we have got to use that knowledge we built in nurturing customers into that process too, for that 5-year process. It's just no point. We already have businesses in this room, and we've got some of the best businesses in the country, converting 20% of their remortgages. The best are converting 80% plus. What are we going to do in 5 years' time with all the options that are coming in and the ease, speed, ease, and convenience unless we deliver that solution to customers and nurture them through that process and deliver them all the other services that we individually might not be able to offer, but our firm does, the group does, the customer needs them. We have to deliver it to bridge that gap. And guess what? Add more loyalty, get that customer back, and actually earn a good living out of it at the same time. And also all the other home moving concierge services, not when moving, but when in your home. All those things, we know what customers want. We can deliver those things too. So I can tell you now, whether it's all the traditional areas we're in now or all the new areas of capturing leads and nurturing leads, we will be number one in this. This is where our focus is more than anything else. And thankfully, technology will be the facilitator for that. Then it's about our addressable market. We've had a situation now where MMR landed on our plate. Actually, ironically, we've now got a situation where it's been taken off us. And also, we've had product transfers land on our laps too. But as the recent regulation highlights, we cannot sit there just waiting for things to land on our lap. We've had life very easy, to be honest. I know the housing market hasn't been great, but those two things alone have really landed in our laps and made our life a lot easier. Maybe that's meant that we're not as sharp as we should be. But at the moment, we're focused on that middle segment, and that segment is about purchase, remortgage, and product transfer. 2/3 of that middle section is product transfer and remortgage, and that's the biggest target for execution only. So why don't we start increasing our addressable market? Look at that section on the left, tenants. We have some of the best estate agency and lettings distribution in the country sitting in this room. It's phenomenal. A good chunk of those tenants will be wanting to buy. So they fit into that curve of getting involved with customers earlier. Another big chunk of them will probably rent indefinitely. But the one thing they've all got in common is the same need to protect everything as they do as homeowners. So why would they not want protection? Which is why we've been working with Legal & General to deliver a product specifically for tenants. This is going to be a major, major area. We've already started to pilot it. It's a huge opportunity. So it ticks two boxes. It opens up our addressable market and takes it away from execution-only style models. And it starts us helping to nurture and get involved and engage with customers in the way we can now proactively do until they're ready to buy and help them do that. And then if you take the very far bit, which is equity release, hardly anybody in the room has been involved in that. And it's been a relatively small market, gone from about $1 billion to $5 billion in the last 4 years. But now that's evolving into later life lending. So of course, our journey doesn't have to stop at the end of the orange block. It can now evolve into later life lending interest only rather than rolling up interest. That can also then feed first-time buyers, so people can release equity for their children to get onto the property ladder. We have all this data. We can now use this data and start to be relevant to a lot more customers and increase our addressable market. And the later life market is all going to be intermediary. Pretty much all. All face-to-face, or pretty much all. Fee charging. And it opens up a whole load of other opportunities for financial planning, etc. And then these are just for mortgages alone, different opportunities customers might use us for mortgages over this period of time. And yet, how many of those opportunities do they come rushing to us straight away just because they might have used us once? We waste so many opportunities. We have to be relevant and on standby to all those customers. And then there's loads of other orange boxes too, loads of them. All about all the things we don't get involved with but should, like pensions, investments, wills, trusts, various other financial services products, as well as all the non-financial services products and home ownership products and services. There's so much we can do and deliver, not always just through mortgage brokers, but through technology, by clever marketing, by clever positioning, clever timing. Okay, so technology, there's a big subject for us. You're going to hear this afternoon from Ben, who is going to be interviewing Dan, our CTO. So that whole session is dedicated to MAB's plans on technology. But we quite simply intend to lead in mortgages and home purchase technology. That's what we want to do. And also, we've got a massive USP. We build technology in-house. That's great if you build it well, not so great if you don't. But we are build it well. We've got a great team. We're in the best position ever in terms of what we're going to deliver on tech. A lot of hard work's been going in. The budget's been put in. The focus is there. So there's so much more we need to do. And we pledge, just like with lead generation, we will give you the very best out there with your input, with your help, not just one off-the-shelf product that you're going to have to work out whether it fits for the next 5 or 10 years. It will be evolving every minute of every day. It will be that quick, that fast, that responsive. That's what we need to do. But then also business models have to change. We have to work with you to change your business models to make sure you're leveraging technology the best way you can. Really hugely important. So how we engage with customers is important. The technology has to be tailored to lead sources, to customers, to products, to services, not a one-hat-fits-all journey. Our technology will be tailored in that way, I can 100% assure you. We've teamed up with Amazon Web Services, who produce the most advanced cloud architecture. So we can be the most bespoke you need to be, the most agile you need to be, the most intelligent technology can be, and also the most relevant the technology can be to you, your business, and your customers, whatever they might be doing, in whatever way they might want to do it. So that's another big pledge for us in terms of what we're going to do. And I wouldn't do that unless we're 3/4 over the line in terms of where we are in planning that and delivering that. Nearly there. And then using technology to evoke efficiencies. So what's really important is we optimize your time and your consumers' time. Focus on advice and building trust, which is our real differentiators that tech can't deliver. That's what we've got to focus on. And the 20 minutes relates to how long it will take you, if that's how long you wanted to get it down to give full advice to customers, probably in a more consistent way than many can do today. And that's after all the information has been obtained to provide that advice. And there is absolutely no reason I can think of why any customer wouldn't take advice if speed, ease, and convenience is a big issue for them and they can't spend 20 minutes. It's not like, if someone remortgaged or moved every 3 years in their lifetime, every 3 years, why would you not spend 20 minutes if that's how easy you can make it clear to your customers it will take? It's not like you need, oh Christ, the cat flap's broken, I've got to go on Amazon and order a new one, I need it tomorrow. You don't need that with mortgages. So yes, I agree. Look, we're getting our act in order as an industry. I don't know why the regulator's focusing on technology being the answer for execution-only business, when actually what we're doing, we're just literally days away, relatively speaking, of actually getting to a position where advice is going to be delivered in exactly the way customers want. And then you look at all the links to 27 Tech and the lenders and agreements and principles and fast offers. You can even hear today about 15-minute offers rather than 15-day offers. We're on that journey already. We don't have to reinvent the world. But we have to be that relevant. We have to make it that obvious to clients. That's how long it's going to take. And we've got to start telling our clients today that when we remortgage you, it ain't going to take hours or days. It's going to take minutes. Because when it does come to that point, that's when they're going to be comparing you with. All the new tech and solutions are going to be offered there with the experience they had with you. And 2 years, 3 years, 5 years is a very, very long time. As you can see there, we're teaming up with TransUnion, will do heavy lifting for us. You're going to hear more about that as the year progresses. So all that population of data, maybe 70% plus of it, will be done for you. So we're starting that journey. It's exciting, and it's great news for the customer. Okay, so this is the last slide. An interesting title, the UK's leading home ownership group. Okay, you would have thought leading mortgage broker, mortgage network, mortgage group. But we have to widen our relevance and value to customers. We need to understand everything they have to go through, get involved, help them with that, not just that one little silo and hope we get that customer who can help them win that little bit of transaction. We've got to think bigger. We've got to think wider. We have to help capture, retain, and monetize customers. Complete end-to-end solutions need to be delivered. And again, technology can facilitate that. I'm not expecting you all to do it individually, but I do expect MAB to play a far bigger part in making that happen. And all the services we use should be feeding each other. All the third parties we use, they're all, again, silos. They should all be feeding each other, passing leads to each other, making this whole thing seamless. There's so much more opportunity if we can pull all these individual strands together. We just really aren't working as an industry as effective as we can be. But again, although technology is bringing us competition, technology will facilitate us being that much more relevant, that much more consistent and effective. So pooling our strengths, our ideas, our expertise, and ambition is what we want to deliver here. And the strength we have as a group is phenomenal. And that's where we're going to end up. So, focus on lead generation. We want to be the nation's only omni-channel distribution model. And that means we can deliver any solution to the customer, face-to-face, telephone, digital. And we'll be the only group that can do that now with full postcode coverage under MAB. We want to deliver brand advantage. So of course, as MAB, we want the brand to be a big USP for those that use it. And brands have become more and more important, as you hear later. There'll be a lot less, more bigger groups, stronger tech, stronger brand. And of course, all the companies that could take advantage and come into the market on the back of execution only already have huge brands, already have huge databases. So we do need that in our armory. But we also want to work with other good brands that are in this room. It's not just about MAB. We need to do it together, but in a coordinated fashion. Complete seamless homeless journey? A homeowner journey. Whoops. Maybe for one or two of us. and technology enabling our customers and brokers, and of course, as we talked about, expanding the addressable market. So that's it pretty much from me. You'll hear from some great speakers today who would add more context to some of what I've just gone through. Despite a lot of talk about change and tech over the last few years, transformation is already starting around us today. MAB is ready. It will lead the way in the intermediary sector, where the status quo will most certainly be challenged. Have a great day. I'll be back later this morning to answer your questions, so get them in now. Thank you. Right, before I exit stage, I'd just like to introduce you to a host for today, Jez Rose. Jez has spent 10 years as a behavioural insight advisor. He's backed by popular demand, your popular demand, so please give him a big MAB welcome.